Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Retirement Readiness Podcast. Today, we have the joy of having Harold and Judy Lewis join us for this episode, where we're going to be focused on talking about what it means to have significance in retirement. As usual, Prairie View Wealth Partners is here as a family-focused, faith-centered wealth management and investment planning company. We're here to help you and to partner with you on your journey to retirement readiness. So, Harold and Judy, the reason we asked you to be on the show today is because of all of the clients we have. First, you're great friends of ours. And then secondly, is we think about what it means to really live a fulfilled retirement and what it means to find purpose in retirement. We felt like you two have had a great story and would love to hear your story a little bit. So would you give me just a couple of minutes? Tell me a little bit about your background. What kind of work did you do and how long have you been retired?
Well, I'll start out. I've been retired 10 years, and I was an administrator and a marketing vice president of senior living communities, and had the pleasure of helping start up a local senior community called Smith Crossing. I have healthcare experience over nearly 40 years total, and have enjoyed my pathway to retirement.
I was an educator for 38 years and retired in the year 2000 and moved to Orland Park to be with Judy as she created this new community up here, which we live in now.
That's outstanding. And so as you guys, you obviously had some pretty full and exciting lives while you were working. As you transitioned into retirement, how did you find yourself filling your time? Did you start retirement with a plan? You knew exactly what you wanted to do, or did you feel through it and figure it out as you went?
Well, that's an interesting question. We actually didn't have a plan at the point of retirement, other than, again, moving up from the St. Louis area up to Orland Park. And we just sort of helped it along the way, taking the necessary steps to find out what was fulfilling for us. But I know when I first retired, I decided that I wanted to be involved with the local church, and I volunteered there for at least 3 years, trying to be able to give back part of my talents. So I found a lot of fulfillment in that aspect. And I know you had other plans. You tried it.
Yeah, you're right. I've always been active in athletics and things like that, and extreme sports, and had planned to continue that till I was 150 years old, and decided that maybe I needed to slow down a little bit, maybe support Judy a little bit more, and get involved in the senior living community sort of thing.
You talked a little bit about scaling back. Well, but tell me a little bit about what scaling back for you guys means. And it seems like you've been pretty active here during retirement. Have you skied at all? Have you done any bike riding? Give me a little bit of sense of how you filled your time.
Well, we discovered snow skiing several years ago, and we transitioned doing that, and we skied, shall we say, 278 resorts worldwide, and we traveled back and forth to Europe and Canada and all the western states and the eastern states and the Midwest, and that was kind of part of our winter activities. And then the summertime we transitioned into bicycling, and we bicycled all over the Midwest and California and places like that. And we thought, gee, we were just always going to be on the fast track until I had an accident.
Yes. So we've continued our active lifestyle, partially based on our physical needs. And we thought we would still, at our ages, I'm 77 and he'll be 82, we would still be skiing or riding bicycles. But he had an unfortunate accident on the bicycle, and we found replacements for that. So now we are still very active riding recumbent tricycles, up to 10, 15 miles every other day. And we also walk in our community. We have a lot of paths. We have a lot of forest preserves around and a lot of areas to keep active. And so physically, we are still staying as active as we can. And then we have another little toy that we enjoy. It's a slingshot made by Polaris, and it's an auto cycle. So we're expanding our outdoor activities because we pack lunches and we go to the forest preserves and enjoy that, and then enjoy the back roads, the country roads, just exploring the whole area. So we are keeping active physically. And then I know that there's also the mental and spiritual part that we still like to keep active. So we can expand on that as well.
Yeah, for sure. If you would, tell me a little bit about where have you found your ability to plug in at and find significance? Obviously, it's really important, as you mentioned, to have the physical side, and obviously to our testament to how good a shape you're in. But give me a sense on the significance side and your spiritual part. Where do you guys plug in, and how are you active there?
Well, we're members of Parkview Christian Church, which is here in Orland Park, and Judy's done a lot of volunteer, and I've worked with a summer program for the kids and so forth. And with COVID, we were kind of out doing everything virtually, and now we're back in the pew, and we once again in community, and that's very important to us to connect that way and to stay active and do what we can for God.
And through living at Smith Crossing, we have a lot of opportunities to be fulfilled with our talents. I do a lot of decorating, especially at Christmas. We're not totally involved as much as we would like at this point. We've been there for 2.5 years following his accident. And it's a wonderful community to be able to serve in a number of ways, lots of activities, lots of ways that you can participate. We actually are helping, this sounds silly, but we are silver rollers because staffing issues and so forth. Volunteers from the community are doing things to help with the dining area. So we roll silverware a couple of times a week just to help the staff so that they're not burdened with that. And it brings a sense of fulfillment that we can do that. So that's how we stay as active as we can, at where we live.
Yeah, for sure. And when you talk about where you live, maybe if somebody's not familiar with what Smith Crossing is, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your community and what it means to you guys, and how has that transition been for you?
Well, from my personal viewpoint is that once again, it's a plan in place, and every amenity is available. You're still in community with people who have come from various backgrounds, and you hear their stories and what they've done and their successes, and it's just a safe environment, and I don't have to worry about cutting grass, worrying about shoveling snow and things like that. So it just fulfills that need to sit back and have that time to ourselves and not have to do all the work.
Well, and to add on to that, it's a life plan community, and I believe, Tim, you all were instrumental in help us determine that yes, this would work within our financial status. That was very important to us, that we could be able to afford a community like this, because it is a plan in place for the rest of our life. And we looked at it as a gift to each other and a gift to our children that we had made the decisions, because it has all the independent living pieces, and then there's assisted living, there's skilled care, there's a rehab place, and a memory support. So it's just everything is in place, and it takes the burden from us and for our children not to have to make those decisions in a crisis situation. So we thought that was very important. And again, you all were instrumental in helping us guide us to that final decision. What was pulling us there? Well, unfortunately, with the accident, prompted us to go there sooner, but that structured our plan in place for the rest of our life.
Yeah, and so as you think about kind of rest of life, one of the things that has always struck me with you guys is really your ability to continue to adapt and continue to find purpose and continue to do the things that you love to do throughout your life. And so when you think about kind of this next phase of life, what are the things that are on your bucket list? Do you have anything left? It sounds like you've done just about everything, but is there anything else left on that bucket list? And how do you think you'll continue to find purpose going forward?
You got a bucket list?
Well, we don't really have a bucket list. We look at every day is a gift. Okay, so waking up in the morning is a great gift. We certainly like to be with family, but they're all over the country and it's not as easy for us to travel. So we've cut back on traveling in that respect. But I think sharing every day, every moment we can in a positive manner, that's really what fulfills me. And if I can do some creative writing, and I like to read, and we also enjoy our walks together, but it's trying to find that balance in what keeps us motivated and what gives us that total fulfillment. But we want to continue to be a reflection of what Christ wants us to be, and to get us to that point. I think that's always the center of what we are. So
Definitely, yes.
Well, and I think that one of the things that you have shared with me in the past is that many times you look to see how can you live out the role that God has created you to play. Is there anything that you find in retirement that you're able to do differently than you're able to do when you were working?
very good question.
Well, we have time now.
Yes, we really do.
Yeah, so our focus, doesn't have to be on our occupation or what we're doing, but just sit back and enjoy the latter years of our life and have that fulfillment that Judy talks about. It's so important.
One of the things that we also enjoy being at Smith Crossing, we're surrounded by so many people with so many wonderful backgrounds. So we're enjoying hearing their stories and hopefully, again, hanging on to positivity and the Christ-like mentality. That's our ultimate goal, is to make sure that we reflect that as He would want us to do. So I think that having the time now available without all the maintenance associated with homeowners and all those other things, although we have a special needs son that we still have to care for long distance wise, but it's working out very well. But that's turned out to be a blessing for us too. So we get to see a perspective of life that through his needs that we weren't otherwise exposed to, and we've turned that into a blessing for us as well. So we just try to look at each day as a special day and a new adventure.
Well, and if I remember right, now that you got that slingshot, as you were mentioning, Judy, you're able to see some different parts of the backcountry roads and that kind of stuff. If I remember right, were you telling me about a favorite restaurant down on Route 66, and was it down in the Dwight area? Am I remembering that correctly?
That is
exactly
correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of our long distance trips. It's not that far away, but it's. I've always been drawn to the outdoors. I think both of us have, and we just love getting off the interstates and just chilling. And we don't have to go fast. We just want to have fun together and get some good food in Dwight and talk about old times. And it's just so peaceful and relaxing. That's kind of right in our wheelhouse.
Right. But we're trying to maximize the time together that we have as well, and find ways that we know that we can bring enjoyment to each other. So that's a part of our retirement. And we didn't know that's what's going to happen when we retired, and we've been able to build on it successfully.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that I remember about you guys too, and Lou, if I'm correct, when you talk about liking to ride your bike, did you just ride for like 1 or 2 miles a day? Was that your normal routine? What was your normal routine when you were actively riding in retirement?
Well, it had a running background prior to that, so it's basically the same kind of workouts. You do easy days, hard days, 30-mile long rides, 100-mile rides on special occasions, and so that was dictating what I was doing. I would probably still continue to do that, as long as the body would hold up. But God had a plan, and that's okay. And I don't miss that. It's just a happy memory. So we stayed pretty active.
We
didn't
do,
we, dear?
yeah, and we still do, and hopefully we are encouraging to the residents at Smith Crossing. They see us out and about, and they're always curious about our recumbent tricycles, and even we offering to take some of the really older people in their 90s for a ride in the slingshot, and they're embracing that. So we're having fun with that as well.
That's really cool. Well, and if I remember it, you were talking about trying to spend a lot of time together and that kind of stuff. Judy, you didn't ride your bicycle quite as long as Lou did, or it was for as big a distances, if I remember right. Am I remembering that you guys actually had a like a pedal assist or something that would help Judy, that you guys could ride together and go for longer distances than maybe you normally would?
Right. Well, that's on our recumbent tricycles. Right. We've added e-assist to that because I have an ankle problem and had issues last year with riding the hills, some of the hills in the forest preserve. So my husband graciously purchased those and had them placed on our tricycles, and we can now go a long distance, 15 miles for a ride on the tricycles. And people that see us on the sidewalks or in the subdivisions love what they see, and they always wave and smile. And so that's kind of where we are with the trikes.
Yeah, well, and for me, as I think about you guys, the part of your story, and as you've told it, is really the story that we're hoping to hear about how, as you enter retirement, you have all of this stuff that's taking up all of your time. Before retirement, you have work and things to do around the house and kids that you have to take care of, and all that kind of stuff. And then as you enter retirement, all of a sudden that starts to go away, and you find that you have more time that's available to you. And as we've talked here a little bit, I really enjoyed hearing your story and seeing your journey as you guys went from that busy working lifestyle to continuing to be active and continuing to travel and downhill ski and do all those things. But then as things continued to change, you made some adjustments along the way as well. And to the point where even now, finding a way to continue to ride your bike following Lou's accident and even having the e-assist on there. And hey, if that doesn't work, let's go to the slingshot type of thing. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit on this conversation and help us as we look at how do you find purpose in retirement, and how do you make that shift. Before we kind of wrap up this episode, is there anything that you would like to add or anything that comes to mind from your perspective?
Well, I would like to add one thing. My husband, Lou, we call him, of course, has a saying, and I think it's something that we're both grasping, and it's called champions adjust. So from the active lifestyle and busyness of careers that we both had, transitioning into retirement, we didn't know what to expect. And I think that particular little saying, champions adjust, if people hang on to that, I think you can move forward and still have a wonderful, wonderful, fulfilling life.
One of the things I might add, Tim, just recently I rediscovered a saying that Bishop Fulton Sheen said many years ago. He says, live your life and forget your age. And that kind of sums us up, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I think that both of those sayings do. The way that I know you guys, they absolutely do, and represent the way that you live your life. So again, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. As we wrap up this episode of the Retirement Readiness Show, would just like to thank Lou and Judy for being a part of this and being guests on our show, where again, at Prairie View, our focus is on family-focused, faith-centered financial planning and investment advice. We hope you'll join us again in the future. Until then, be well, where we hope to help you live your legacy with confidence. Thank you.